This pepper plant is taller than me, and without this $6 cage, it would have already collapsed. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make one. Rich Blood here from Pepper Guru, where we travel the world in search of the best peppers and teach you how to grow them without the heartbreak of losing half your harvest when the plants get too big and too heavy. I just counted over 30 peppers on this 8-foot tall bell pepper plant. Now that's a lot of weight. And this one is pumping out some of the biggest pods I've ever seen. It's doing it without snapping any branches or leaning any plants over. And it's all because of this simple livestock cage I made for about $6 per plant. In 12 minutes, I'm gonna break down step by step how I make these cages and how I install them so my plants can utilize them throughout the season. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm gonna show you how to take these cages up to the next level. If you've ever had a favorite plant of yours and it's ended up snapping under its own weight, go ahead and light up that like button, because you're gonna wanna know how to fix this. This really cheap and effective solution will help you solve that problem for about $6 per plant. Let's go. Here's the reality. Once pepper plants reach about 3 to 4 foot tall, 20 to 30 peppers can snap branches overnight, and oftentimes you won't even notice it until your harvest is on the ground. Unripe, the flavor's not there, the seeds aren't good. Makeshift staking does work pretty well early on for smaller plants, but once these things get huge like this and loaded down with fruit, one little gust of wind or one little overnight rain can moisten your ground so soft that the plant completely snaps or bends over. When you add all that water weight from a heavy rain and all of this fruit weight, you can see how things can get out of hand pretty quickly. And that's where cages come in. This livestock fencing is really great material for essentially making a skeleton of sorts that the plant can grow up and through without choking the plant out. These cages don't just help with the big pepper types, they also help with the little pepper types too, just like this Arabibi gusano or caterpillar pepper. There's no way you would have been able to get this many peppers growing on a plant without snapping branches if it weren't for this cage. From massive bell peppers to little bitty caterpillar peppers and everything in between, like these medium-sized banana type peppers, these cages are gonna help you keep more peppers. There's always going to be a degree of broken branches. It's just something that's inevitable. We have to look at this objectively, but we can all agree on this one thing. Losing these few peppers right here is a lot better than losing all of those. And honestly, the only way you're getting a pepper plant this big is by building one of these cages. And don't even waste your time on flimsy, overpriced tomato cages from all the big box stores. I've been through all the wrong materials over the last 30 years, and I finally settled on the best material for growing massive pepper plants. What is that material? Let's get into it. Now, when it comes to the tools you're gonna need to make these cages, all of these things are super cheap and readily available. You can find most of this stuff at your local big box stores. Honestly, you can get most of this stuff just shopping right from home on Amazon. All you're really gonna need for this job is a pair of bolt cutters. I think I paid $12 for these things. Like, you don't need the fancy ones, get some cheap ones, just anything that's gonna be able to cut this fencing material. If you're gonna be making a lot of cages, then I really suggest getting you some gloves, especially if you're not used to working with your hands very much. These gloves can just make things more comfortable for you. Over the years, I basically settled on these, which are just fence pliers. These require a little bit more hand strength, but for me, they're more handy. They just work better for me. Now, the materials you may not find at your local big box stores is probably going to be the fencing. If you're anything like me at your local big box stores, it's mostly just these flimsy, overpriced tomato cages like this, or it's this, livestock fencing with the 2x4 inch openings. And this is getting closer to what we want. I have made do with these in a pinch, but over the years, I finally settled on the very best type of fencing to look for. Now, the very best fencing material for this job is going to be found at your local livestock supply or your feed stores like Tractor Supply. Just do a Google search in your area of fence supply and you're bound to find a place selling wholesale rolls at a decent price. And don't even waste your time with the super heavy-duty cattle paneling. Yes, it is the ultimate support, but the issues are it's often too rigid to work with for most people. It's too expensive, and eventually they're gonna rust on you. After so many years of trying the wrong fencing types, This red top sheep and goat fencing with the 4-inch holes is truly the sweet spot for growing peppers in. Now, the current pricing on a 330-foot roll of this red top sheep and goat fencing is running about $389, which can make me about 75 cages for my 15-gallon grow bags. That comes out to less than $6 a cage. And when I bought my rolls, they were actually like $260 per roll of 330 foot. So that's much cheaper. And they're still here year after year, holding up massive pepper plants. It's cheap and it works. I have made my fair share of mistakes along the way while utilizing these cages to grow my pepper plants. And I do see other people making those same mistakes too. And we will get into that later in the video. But for now, let's get to building these things, huh? Cutting and forming your pepper cages is easy once you have the livestock fencing and something to cut it with. Right now, it's just a matter of deciding how big do you want these plants to get? And knowing how much fencing to cut for your containers is easy too. All you do is measure the circumference of your container and then count how many rungs on the livestock fencing it takes to cover that measurement. I know that my 15 gallons are about 54 inches around, so that's about 14 of these rungs on this livestock fencing. That's where we're gonna cut. You can make this part easier on yourself by pinning down the free end of the livestock fencing and rolling out the fencing away from your work area. And moving your pins down with you to the next free end as you go. Oh, and pro tip, always cut in the middle of the rung after your measurement so that you're left with these free wire tag ends. These tag ends are gonna make your job a lot easier in the final stage of forming your cages. Now, after this last cut, it's just a matter of letting the fencing spring tension do the work for you. Its coil memory from being on the roll is gonna make it really easy for you to form into a tube. Just like that. Remember these tag ends I told you to leave yourself earlier when cutting your sections? Well, closing this cage up is as easy as taking those free tag ends and bending them over the other end. All right, a little fine tuning and you should be all set. A perfect structure for your pepper plants to grow up through. It's sturdy, heavy duty, easy to make, cheap, and it's gonna save you a ton of peppers. Now, the only thing left to do is slip these down nice and tight over our containers, right? Not quite. There are some common mistakes I see people making, myself included. So let's talk about some of the main things you want to try to avoid when using these cages to grow your pepper plants. Now, mistake number one that I see when people are making these cages is choosing the wrong fencing to begin with. The size of these openings matters a lot. You really want to focus on that opening size, otherwise you're not going to be able to reach in there to grab your peppers. I see a lot of people using that 2x4. That's not going to work. You're going to be bending that open constantly to try to get your peppers out. It's going to be a hassle. Choose the right livestock fencing. Some of those peppers are so big you can't even get them through the holes. That's a problem. So mistake number one, choosing the right opening size. Mistake number two is not building your cages tall enough. Peppers can get as tall as you want them to, and eventually at some point it's going to start coming out of the top. So you really need to know what kind of variety you're growing and what its genetic potential is as far as plant size. All peppers can get huge, but some have characteristics that make them grow just a little bit faster and bigger than others. Now, mistake number three that I see most people making is not securing the base like I've done here. As you can see, this thing has gotten so big and heavy that it's now trying to lean that entire cage over that way. We got to fix that. I want to show you how. It's real easy. We're just going to take a few of these landscape staples, about 6 to 8 inches long. They're steel, and a hammer. And we're just going to hammer that landscape staple in around the outside ring of our cage that we've made to the ground. It's always good to do it on the high side, the opposite direction of where it's leaning. And I'm going to show you the next step to securing these cages for basically bomb-proof plants. Whatever type of heavy-duty stake I've chosen, it can be a T-post, it can be rebar, it can be aluminum fence poles for aluminum fencing cut to your lengths. Anything you can find. I've even been known to go into the bamboo forests around here and harvest really long, thick, hard bamboo. Whatever you can find, whatever you can get your hands on, as long as it's going to be rigid and quite tall, because these plants get tall. Hold this post as level as possible, then I'm going to go for it. After we're done driving this heavy-duty stake, the only thing left to do is take these industrial zip ties that I like to use, and we just work our way all the way up until we get to the very top. And as you can see, as I'm making my way up this post and pulling the cage to the post, the can see how much more level that plant is sitting now. And that's the whole point. We want that center of gravity at a dead 90, straight up and down. And once you're to the top of your post, your plant should be sitting pretty level, no matter how big it is. That's how you take these cages to the next level. You know, what's great about these cages, aside from the fact that they can hold up massive pepper plants, is that you can hang shade cloth from them if your region gets really, really hot midday. And you can also hang this isolation netting from the cages as well. So it sort of acts as its own individual support for each plant. And we all know that if you want to keep these genetics pure, you got to keep the bees out of the flowers. And these nets are really good at keeping the bees out of the flowers. Take these rooster spur from Virgil T. Answorth, for example. If it wasn't for people like Virgil, his family, and other growers like me taking care not to let these hybridize naturally by the bees, you wouldn't be able to enjoy heirlooms like this that are many, many generations old. Now, another perk to these pepper cages is that end of season cleanup and breakdown are a breeze too. All you do is pull your pins, yank the cages, and if you have space, you can stack them as they are, just like this. Or if you need to save space, you can just unbend your tag ends and lay them flat like this. Then next season, it's simply a matter of pulling them back out, reforming them into tubes, and you're off and growing again. But what's the real reason cages rule? The very best thing about cages are the results. There's no debate here. Cages equal giant plants with massive yields. Yields that you're not gonna get with flimsy tomato cages, garden twine, and bamboo stakes. If you want plants like this, build your cages before it's too late. Don't wait for snapped branches and major hits to your yield. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Just get to building. Now, when it comes to improving your pepper growing experience, most farmers on earth and most serious growers agree that the name of the game is all about increasing yield. This is not controversial. This is just fact. So, when it comes to taking advice from people on the internet about growing pepper plants, you better make damn sure that those people that you're taking advice from are getting the results that you want. Stop taking bad advice from the small yellow plant brigade on social media. You know the ones. Epsom salts, banana water, bloom boosters, topping, pinching early flowers. None of that is going to get you results like this. If you learn from people with plants like theirs, you're going to end up with plants like theirs. Instead, what you should do is try to learn from the people who've proven it season after season, regardless of what zone they're in. That's your real pepper guru. The others, they're really good at social media, but they don't know plants. I understand that most of you are here for the growing content, so if you want more direct access to me and the Pepper Guru community, head over to pepperguru.com, join us there, further the conversation, and maybe even grab some rare seeds that you saw in this video. And then you can click this video right here. And while I understand most of you are here for the growing content, I really encourage you to learn more about where peppers come from. You can do that by checking out my series, Traveling the World in Search of Peppers. Just this past November, I met up with my friend Alan Rockefeller in Colombia. He taught me a lot about mushrooms and a lot about these dwindling ecologies where capsicum comes from. Until that video drops, you can click this video right here.